Howdy, howdy. So today, I think I wanted to kind of talk about bait, lure, and urine, and how I use them, what I do with them, and what I use on my line. Now, as I've stated previously, I don't use much lure. I don't really use lure at all. I didn't use lure last year, and I did very well. There's guys that use lure and bait and urine combos and do really well also. So I have nothing against using lure, but the way I'm doing my trap line and my system is I'm just trying to be just bait and urine. And I use a commercial bait, and I also use a natural bait and a natural bloody bait. So I don't use the lure, but I do use urine, and I use real deal urine. I use the high quality urine, not the stuff that's been possibly cut or mixed down with glycol or glycerin or even watered down. And I get it from a single source that I know is very reputable, and it is very high quality. So when they say the best urine, when you can get the best urine is supposed to be meat fed, winter collected. So it's very potent, very strong, has a very loud ammonia smell, but it also has a very good calling power, an initial calling power, and it does very well to make the animal approach, work. It just gives you a extra benefit at your set. And the reason I don't use lure, such as like a gland lure or a food type curiosity lure, or a call lure, is because glands, food, and a call lure, most commercial baits have all those ingredients in them. They have, your mink glands or your rat glands, your fish oil base as your fatty acid, or your skunk fat that's been rendered down as your fatty acid, added to some meat base that's either been tainted for a period of time and then had the solution added into it later. The solution meaning the glands, the skunk essence, the urine. A lot of baits have urine in it already. Although I do use my own urine that I source out from one reputable supplier. And I should say, I don't have, I really want to state that I don't have an issue with anyone using lure. I used to use lure, but marking down, I would mark down in my notebook, okay, I put this bait here, I put this lure here, I use this urine. My next set, I did this bait, I did a totally different lure. And there's so many different lures out there, where do you source it from? Who do you know is making high quality lures? Who do you know that is using high quality ingredients? Is there a difference between getting your glands or your urine from a ranch fox or a ranch mink versus wild, versus meat fed? So there's a lot of things that I guess you could really talk about and go over and debate and discuss, but I try and keep it very simplistic with my approach, and my approach basically is I'm using a bait and a urine. It's a commercial bait. The commercial bait has all the goodies in it. It has your glands, it has your urine, it has your fatty acid base, and then whatever else that they put in it, as long as you know it's from a reputable company. I can't stress enough that I really, really, really respect Keg Creek. I respect Hoban's stuff. I respect Cletus from Apple Road, and I've talked to Jameson a few times, and I have used his matrix bait, and I do like that. I would say so far my favorite is Keg Creek, and that is just because I've used it with great success, and I've never had any issues that I've noted that have caused any failure. Now, I've showed some of the baits, and I've showed some of my urine that I have, but I did want to go over just a couple lures that I have used. I bought these last year. I think they've done me pretty well. They've helped me put fur in my barn, and you know, that's the Fox Hollow. I haven't used these, and I'm probably going to just give these away to a youth trapper. So I'll probably do that at a convention. But the GH2 and then the other Fox Hollow Bounty Hunter, so you have your call lure, and then you have a food type curiosity lure. I also have used Bob Jameson's stuff. So his Prairie King and then his Red Devil. The Prairie King. It's just a coyote gland lure, and then the Red Devil is like a red fox gland / curiosity lure. They work really well. I'm not a firm believer on just putting a little dab will do ya. I like to get a pretty nice size glob, and I smear it towards the bottom of the hole the best I can. Two other lures that I really like to use. A lot of you probably know what this is just by looking at it, but this is Carmen's. So Carmen's canine call. It's been set in a while, so it's a good quality lure. It's caught a lot of coyotes from a lot of different people. But one lure that I think that is very it's not on very many people's radar, or if it is, they're keeping it kind of a secret. It's his Mega Musk. It's a yellow type lure, a whitish lure, and I had phenomenal success with it in 2018, 2019, 2020. I used it all the time. So those are the big ones that I really used. And I got to a point where I was just tired of pulling them out of the bag or carrying them all in my bag. Which one do I want to have? Because I was trapping off an ATV, and I wanted everything to be on the ATV just in case I had to set up 3 or 4 or 5 different spots, or 3 or 4 or 5 different sets, and I wanted all these, different choices, I guess. So I did a lot of due diligence and research and thinking and just kind of pondering on my own, and I came up with, I'm just going to scrap using the lure, and I'm just going to go to the commercial bait, the natural bait, the natural bloody bait, and the urine. So I think I still have all the bases covered, but from time to time, if I feel like I'm in an area that has been trapped before, pressured before, I might pull out something a little different. I might carry a lure with me in the truck and pull it out and use it. I'm not saying I am totally against the lure. I don't like to use it for my system. So I hope that makes sense. And then I have shown everyone the baits that I use. So this is the new test bait, and then you have your Apple Road, and then you have your Hobens. So Hobens is in the lime green, and then Apple Road is Cletus. This is the blackout. This is the new test bait that Marty sent me, that he's letting me use. So I really appreciate that, Marty, if you do watch this. And I carry everything around in peanut butter jars. I have people, my parents save them, my brothers, we save them. But I also use Marty Smith's, and I wanted to kind of go over that again because I don't know if I was too clear. I use Marty Smith's. I use Keg Creek, his Bill Nelson bait, and I use his Showtime. I also like his Kick-Ass Predator bait. I believe it's a horse meat based bait. And then he also has one called Red Eye. I've used them all. I've had success with them all. But the ones I like the best are his Bill Nelson, his Kick-Ass, and his Showtime. And someone told me that his Showtime was a chicken base, but I don't know about that. So don't quote me on that, but that's what someone had told me. So I don't know. I don't know what the base is, and I don't know what the base is in his blackout, but I know that I just transferred it to this peanut butter jar, and I could get a lot of different smells. Loud smells. It smelled like there was maybe some mint gland or some muscovy gland in it. I got a pretty strong taste of that, and I didn't get a big hint of castor, but for some reason I thought maybe there was some castor in it. But I'm excited to try it, and I'm excited to continue to talk to him and maybe see what was in it. I'm not trying to make or figure out the recipe. It just intrigues me for my own intellectual curiosity. Like it's just fascinating. I really enjoy that stuff. I've never seen myself making a bait, at least not in a long while. I don't think. I don't have the operation. I'm not geared towards that. I'm geared towards catching canine right now, and I'm geared towards using the best products to catch canine, and these are the products that I think are the best. Now this urine, I talked about this urine. I just saved these old jugs that I get, or that I had. There's some from John Graham. There's some from Minnesota when I didn't know any better. But I just saved these, and then I transfer them from that 5-gallon bucket where I went and picked up my urine. Well-known trapper. He's trapped for a long time. I'm not going to mention his name because I haven't talked to him and asked him for permission to do that. So I'm just not going to do that. But I think if you can get on some forums and you can figure out where to source a good quality urine and then source a good quality bait, I think you could be very streamlined with your approach and very efficient. You put bait in the hole, squirt a thing of urine, and you're gone. You've got 3 sets, and you got 2 commercial baits with you and 1 natural. Put natural in every single hole, and then put a different commercial in every single hole. Squirt each one with coyote urine, and you're down the road. It's very hard to get high quality fox urine. I do know Marty Smith sells some, but I don't know the source, and so I'm just a little leery. It's not that I don't trust Marty. It's just that it's just my own self just being a little hesitant on it. So with that being said, and I don't like to knock anybody, but I wouldn't. There are people that I would not buy lure from or bait from, and some of them are some bigger name companies or some bigger name guys in the industry, and I won't say their names just out of respect, more so for myself, but I would shy away from that, and I would start sourcing out from a different individual or a different company, someone that you guys know is making high quality stuff and not just doing the tic tac route and kind of being wishy-washy with their product. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use bait and lure, and I mentioned one previously. A lot of people don't talk about how they use their bait, and when I use my bait, I use just a little fork, and I bend the tips over so that it don't puncture a hole in my bag when I'm using it. So if you're carrying a 5-gallon bucket, it doesn't matter. But when I take my bait, I take it out, get a good glob on it, and I ram it down inside the hole. So, and then I'm taking my natural bait, my natural bloody bait, and I'm putting it into the hole. So I've got my commercial bait, and then I've got my natural bait, and then I've got my squirt of urine. And everything goes into the hole, directly into the hole, to the bottom of the hole, to the bottom of the rim of the hole, or I should say to the bottom of the base of the hole, the distal portion of the hole. And that's where I want my focal point to be. I want it to be at the very bottom. I don't want it to be at the lip. I don't want it to be at the backing. I don't want it to be at the front lip, or the back edge, however you want to describe it. So that is just what I do. That's how I approach this, and that's how I kind of been operating, and it's worked very well for me. Now, one thing I will kind of get into, and I don't like to do this just out of respect for people, so I'm not going to say any names, but there are some bigger guys in the industry, and there's some bigger companies that I don't feel like they sell high quality material, or high quality bait, high quality lure, high quality urine. I don't know if they're skimping on the ingredients, they're skimping on the processes, where they're sourcing their stuff from, whether that being from a ranch fox, ranch mink. Is there a difference between that and wild mink and wild fox? So I don't get into that. But I would highly recommend that if you are going to be purchasing these ingredients, don't be penny wise and dollar foolish. That means don't go out and buy the best traps, the best truck, the best ATV, and then skimp on, the bait or the urine or the lure. Make sure that it's a high quality. Don't go out and put taco meat down in your hole. Don't, a blind squirrel finds a nut every day, but take that, if someone wants to come and trap against me and put taco meat in a hole, well, then they're more than welcome. Or if I'm going to another state to trap, which I haven't yet, but if I do, and some person's using taco meat or hamburger helper, dog food, well, I'll trap against them all day. If they're using junk urine, I'll trap against them all day. If they're using a very inefficient lure, same thing. So just try to be mindful. And I'm not wanting to sound like someone who's preaching or someone who thinks that they know it all, because I don't, but I know what I know. And I don't think enough people voice their opinion just because everyone wants to be in cahoots with each other. Everyone wants to be buddy-buddy with each other. Just because I have a difference in opinion on someone's bait, lure, urine, doesn't mean I couldn't have a conversation with them and talk to them and be cordial. So that being said, I'm gonna get off here. This was just a short little run through of the stuff that I use, and I hope you enjoyed it, and good luck this season. Take care.